New at 6, an Oregon man convicted of 2 brutal killings when he was just 16 years old in 1994 is going to get a chance to prove he is a changed man. Fox 12's John Hendricks is live in studio with the story and what it could mean for others who have been convicted as minors and sentenced to life in prison.
Well, Pete, Sterling Cuneo is at a state prison in Salem. He's been in prison since 1994. He was convicted in a brutal murder case. At the time, he was 16 years old and sentenced to life in prison. He's now 42 years old and says he's a changed man. A federal judge saying the parole board needs to take a look at things again. Thursday, a federal judge in Portland ordered the state of Oregon to give 42-year-old Sterling Cuneo a release hearing.
The judge said the Constitution requires the state to give him a chance to show the progress he's made.
He was sentenced to life in prison for the brutal murder of Bridget Camber and her fiancé Ian Dahl in 1994. Ryan O'Connor is Cuneo's attorney. He's been on the case since 2012. He's been arguing that your brain isn't fully developed in your teen years. You change over time, and you should get a chance to prove that.
The vast majority of kids who commit crimes, even murder, will become rehabilitated and be productive members of the community as they become adults.
In 2019, lawmakers changed youth sentencing guidelines for those sentenced to life in prison. After a certain amount of time, the person convicted of a crime can go before the state parole board and say that they are changed. The sticking point, it only applied to cases moving forward. That's why the ruling on Thursday is important. Eliza Kaplan is a professor at Lewis and Clark Law School.
What this federal court was saying to Oregon, to the state, give Sterling Cuneo that opportunity now. Even though it's looking backwards, he deserves it anyway under the Supreme Court case law.
Kaplan says the decision could have an impact on a handful of other cases. For O'Connor, he says Cuneo is working on his degree. He's an award-winning writer and helps with the prison hospice program.
He is a totally different person, and I think any person who meets him and looks at the things he's accomplished and speaks with him can see that.
In his eyes, he says Cuneo deserves a chance to prove to the state he's a changed man. Now, I did speak today with Bridget Camber's dad. He was not surprised by the federal ruling, adding that they are not out for revenge in the case. They just want Cuneo to serve the sentence that was handed down in 1994. They say it followed state guidelines that were in place back then. Reporting in studio tonight, John Hendricks, Fox 12 Oregon.